Probably have this little piece of ear back, you know? Could have it, and I wouldn't have to listen to lunatics like this up there. You do know they're paid agitators, right? They're paid. They get paid. You know, do you ever see their signs? They're paid insurrectionists, really, in some cases. They're sickos.
President Donald Trump was heckled mid-speech at his Iowa rally, and he snapped back instantly, lashing out at protesters he labeled lunatics, paid agitators, and sickos as security rushed to contain the disruption.
I mean, no other president has done this. I could have had an ACC presidency. I'd probably have this little piece of ear back, you know? Could have it, and I wouldn't have to listen to lunatics like this up there.
The confrontation unfolded in Clive, Iowa, as the 79-year-old president addressed a crowd largely made up of loyal supporters during a rally marking his first year back in office. Roughly 30 minutes into the speech, loud shouting broke out just as Trump was boasting about the economy, abruptly derailing his remarks on trade and domestic policy. Trump stopped speaking and went on the offensive. Inside the venue, Trump supporters pushed back hard, drowning out the protesters with loud chants of USA, shifting the momentum back in the president's favor.
I wouldn't have to listen, and then I was... Thank you. Boy, they're good here. Do we love our law enforcement? They work very quickly. But under Sleepy Joe, we had the largest trade deficit in world history. But in 1 year, I've slashed our gaping trade deficit by a staggering 77%. How about that? What about that? That's pretty good, right? 77. Nobody's ever seen that.
Trump then pivoted seamlessly back into his speech, launching a fresh attack on Joe Biden, blaming him for what he called the largest trade deficit in world history, a familiar line that drew cheers from the crowd. But the calm didn't last.
You know, if you slash your trade deficit by 1%, you're like a genius. They say, oh, he's very electable. He's not so electable. I did 77. I did something else, favored nations on drugs. We now are paying the lowest price anywhere in the world for drugs. In other words, we're matching favored nations.
Minutes later, a second disruption erupted, and Trump fired back again. He accused the disruptors of being paid, claimed they were planted to sabotage the event, and branded them insurrectionists.
But I've made new fair trade deals with countries covering half of all U.S. trade. You do know they're paid agitators, right? They're paid. They get paid. You know, do you ever see their signs? You know, we used to have protests and you'd have guys making a sign in a basement. These are all paid agitators. That's all they are. They get paid to go and they don't even know what, when they interview them, why are you here? I don't know. They have no idea. They're paid insurrectionists, really, in some cases. They're sickos.
Multiple moments from the rally quickly went viral. Here's another one.
Come on up, Erica. You want to come on up? And while she's coming up, also with us is Judy Waldron from Davenport. Judy works part-time as a bartender, and her husband, Chris, is an electrician who works hours on overtime each week. Their family is going to save thousands of dollars on no tax on overtime and no tax on tips, which they'll use to prepare for retirement. And I want to thank you, Judy. Where's Judy? Come here. Where's Judy? Come on up, Judy. Get up here. Come on up. They're totally unprepared for this, but what the hell, right? Say a few words. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, President Trump. No tax on tips is huge for everyone in the service industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I would just like to say the same thing. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Andy. Good luck. Thank you. I refuse to say they're beautiful. I refuse. But they're beautiful. Do all people look like that in Iowa? I don't think so. Thank you both. Congratulations, too. Great. That's great. We're not supposed to come up, but I looked at both of them and I said, get up here.
Trump once again expressing his desire to remain president of the United States, reinforcing his intention to stay in power.
So exactly 2 years ago this month, it was the people of Iowa who put us on a rocket ship back to the White House. It was a rocket. That was a quick one. After a rigged election, we had a rigged election. I said, do we do it again? And I said, I think we better do it again. Not too many people who would have said that. But we did so well the second time, I said, well, we won twice, we got to do it a third time. Should we do it a fourth time? Four victories. 4 victories. We got the right team over there. The right team over there. That would be easy for you. That wouldn't even be work. But you came out by the thousands on a cold and snowy winter evening. Remember that beautiful evening? And together we won the Iowa caucuses in a 30-point landslide. That was great. I'll never forget it. It was so freezing. You think it's cold now? That blew it away. Whatever happened to global warming? You know? Now it's, it's like one of those things. But it was the coldest night. I remember it was way below zero. And they say, sir, you don't have to come till 10 or 11 o'clock because a caucus takes longer. And I got a call at, let's say the polls close at 7. Sir, you've won. I said, I won what? They told me 10 o'clock. They can't announce. They said, you won by so much. They just called it at 1 minute after 7. So, right? So we made the journey. And we made that journey through all the cars and everything else, and we made a speech, but what an evening that was. Then in November, we won the state by a massive landslide. That was incredible in the election. And we then went on to win all swing states, all 7 of them. They said 7 swing. Well, he could win 4 of them. He's doing very well, but we won 7. We won the Electoral College 312 to 226. We won the popular vote for the first time of any Republican in many decades by millions and millions of votes. And we won a category that's very important. We won 86% of all counties in America, 2,700 to 525. How about that? Other than that, we didn't do too well. So now we're back where it all started to celebrate the greatest first year of any administration in American history. They say that. Even the radical left is saying, only we did a lot of things. 12 months ago, Joe Biden handed us a mess. We inherited the legacy of record high inflation, the highest inflation in the history of our country. They say the fake news, ooh, that's a lot of fake news. No, the fake news said it's 48 years. I remember recently I said the highest inflation, the worst, I believe this, by the way, worst in the history of our country. They said it wasn't the worst. It was 48 years. I said, that's okay, too. Somehow that sounds even worse than when you say the history, right? 48 years. I accepted that, but I think it was in the history. A mass invasion of our border and our country was being laughed at all over the world. We were being laughed at. We were a joke. We're not a joke anymore. We're not a joke. We're not being laughed at anymore. But today, just after 1 year of President Trump, our economy is booming, incomes are rising, investment is soaring, inflation has been defeated. Our border is closed, totally closed. And America is respected all over the world like they've never been respected. 1 year, I thought it would take us 2 years. I guess I'm following in the great path of John Deere. We got the chairman of John Deere here. Chairman and CEO, that's pretty good. I even signed a John Deere hat for him. He said, I'm going to put this in the museum. I said, that's good. No, it's a great company. And you just said you're opening up 2 massive plants because of tariffs. You're opening up one in North Carolina, one someplace else. And then you're expanding all over the place. You're doing a great job. I bought a lot of John Deere stuff. It's a great company. It's an honor to have you. Thank you very much. This has been the most dramatic one-year turnaround of any country in history in terms of the speed. I really thought it would take us 2 or 3 years to do what we're doing. You know, we're the number 1 country anywhere in history in the world, anywhere in history for investment coming into the country. And it's amazing. And it's because of tariffs. And it's also because